Welcome to the beginning of the podcast. Leave us a goddamn review and share this podcast with all your friends, even though it's not for everybody. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Well,
Yeah, I
here, winter's almost done.
was gonna say you guys in the winter blues or what?
Oh, I've had it up to here with winter. It's we still have a ton of snow on the ground.
Maybe I should
Like
send the trucks out there. Can we start moving snow? Moving snow in Cornwall is probably a big deal.
it's no, all the parking lots are so big. There's so much space.
You saw a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we got lots of snow. Like still like a foot and a half on the ground. But
Wow.
yeah, it's miserable.
With where we were moving snow out of last night, I pulled in. I'm like, all the snow seems to be gone here. I'm not questioning us being here, but there seems to be grass everywhere. But there was actually an upper parking lot I didn't know about that where they had been dumping snow the whole year, and I guess now the client said this snow's got to go, so we hauled it all over there. But um, so I had a so this happened last night. Our senior staff, three of them, they all have credit cards. These three senior staff. And so one of our corporate policies or corporate company policies, whatever you want to say, Paper King policy is that if you have a credit card and you have a company vehicle, you have a zippered pouch. And whenever you buy something, you put the receipt into the zippered pouch. And then at the end of every week, you put the zippered pouch into the mailbox in the C can, and you take a different zippered pouch and you put it in your truck. And that's how we sort of have the exchange of paperwork, information, whatever, truck inspections. Like everyone does a truck inspection daily, all that shit exchanges through these pouches. So the rule is clear. Like if you buy something and you get a receipt, you put it in the pouch. So, and this is an ongoing rule. This isn't new. This isn't just to, because I whenever stuff like this happens, I'll say to the staff, like, this is the unique part of being the person who actually like owns the business. I know I work with them and I'm driving a truck with them, and it seems like sometimes I don't own the business. Very frequently seems like I don't own the business. But so one person buys, the three of them, I've discussed all of this with them and I'm not upset with them. So I just was made it into more of a joke. So Cody buys some power steering fluid with her credit card, and she takes the power steering fluid and she gives it to Billy in the yard because Christy's hauling in and he's going to give it to Christy. So when she gives him the power steering fluid, she gives him the receipt instead of
It doesn't
putting it
go
in
in
the
her
pouch.
pouch.
It doesn't go in the pouch. She gives him the receipt. Now, Bill, he's got a credit card and a truck and a pouch. So he now is in possession of the power steering fluid and the receipt, which, okay. She has passed the receipt on to another person with a truck and a pouch. So he gets out when Christy pulls in the yard to give her the power steering fluid and says, here's the power steering fluid, and I have this receipt. What should I do with it? And Christy promptly says, throw it in the garbage. And
Ah,
so and so I'm talking to the three of them today, and I'm like, okay, like I know it's the middle of the winter. I get it. But hey, I feel like we have a clear policy on this. Like this receipt passed through three people's hands and still ended up in the fucking garbage. Now, in Bill's defense, after he was told to put the receipt in the garbage, he still felt like the receipt was important and it meant something. So he took the receipt and he put it in the C can under the power steering fluid. So at least he didn't throw it away.
close. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was in the C can. Eventually, all the pouches go in the C can, so the receipt got there just pouch free. It's like
Pouch free.
it's like a little kangaroo jumping around in the fucking C can all by itself with no pouch.
With no pouch.
But he didn't. At least he didn't throw it away. So when I talked to all of them, I'm like, what is going on here?" And they're like, "I don't know. I don't know why he did that." It's just, but that is just, I think, owning a landscaping company is shit like that just goes down. It just is what it is. I get, and there's probably a time in my life when I would have been upset, and now I'm like, well, no one got hurt, and the receipt is legit in the C can where it needed to. It might not be in a pouch, and it might not be in the mailbox, but legit, it's in the C can. It's like we're batting at least a 6 out of 10 here on this receipt. Yeah, so I feel like we're all winning. I think that it's just it's like a dysfunctional. I don't know. I thought it was funny that, we have this policy that's very well entrenched and very old, not new at all by any stretch. And the receipts just didn't end up in it had a shot at going into 3 pouches, and it was 0 for 3.
Over 3.
This, this receipt is batting 0 for 3. Like, it would get cut from a major league team. It just, anyway, it makes me think to myself that perhaps periodically other paperwork might be getting lost, like, in billing info and tickets that we do to invoice stuff. Maybe potentially the pouch system is not 100% foolproof. It's
See,
not.
we have trucks and we have receipts, obviously, but we only have a glove compartment. I've never thought maybe we should get pouches, and maybe that's the system, is the pouch. So I'm going to implement the pouch and the policy. The pouch and the policy go together.
I think it's actually, when it's followed, and when 3 senior staff members don't outright ignore it, well, I feel like it's a decent system.
Yeah, it's great, but my guys also never throw out anything. Like, I'm talking coffee cups. They don't throw them out. They just hit the floor of the truck, and then they stay there. Like, I don't know. They'll stay there till the end of the week. They'll pile themselves on top of the garbage to go to work instead of cleaning the truck. So I don't think we're ever losing anything, but it takes a while to dig through. Like, I'm the only one who will dig through the truck and find all these receipts.
And maybe that's your lot as the daddy,
boss,
as the daddy,
as
the
daddy,
the landscape daddy,
the landscape daddy
has to.
Your lot in life is to pick the important receipts for the accountant out of the coffee cups on the floor. I guess that's just.
We have like scale tickets too. Those are all mixed in there. We have everything. Should I be like? We get all these scale tickets, but I just throw them out all the time. Like, we don't save a single scale ticket.
What are you scaling in and out?
Like little 5-ton loads of stone and stuff whenever the guys hit the quarry.
I guess, like, for us, we keep all that shit because Kelly does a comparison against what we're being invoiced.
Okay. Yeah.
That almost makes it seem like I know my numbers, but I don't.
Yeah.
Kelly's takes the scale tickets and then matches the date to what but I mean, we sell a lot of gravel, right? Like, we buy a lot of fucking gravel. Like, some days we buy 10 tracks of loads of gravel a day. So we scale in and out a lot. So she's just comparing to make sure that we're not, and then sometimes we're buying gravel. Sometimes our trucks are picking up gravel for a client on their account. And sometimes we're picking it up for ourselves. We end up with a lot of scale tickets and a lot of scaling. So we pay closer attention. But if you only pick up for your job,
we only pick up for ourselves. So anyway,
maybe
just a ton of tickets.
Pay as close of attention to. Well, this year you'll be able to pick up bulkier gravel with bigger truck.
Yeah. We still won't keep the tickets, but hopefully they don't hit the floor this year.
Well, aim for the pouch.
Aim for the pouch. That's what I'm going to spend tomorrow getting pouches. Like, what's so special about these pouches? Are they like? I'd assume they're a step beyond a Ziploc bag.
Well, they're all from the dollar store. They're clear pouches with a zipper across the top, and you stuff your receipt in, and then you zip it closed.
Yeah, I've got the budget for dollar store pouches.
You've got the budget for the dollar store pouches.
I don't have to ask the accountant about that one.
I have
we can afford the dollar store pouch.
No budget for pouch. Well, you could get your pouches from somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's up to you. And then some people like certain colors of pouches. Like, some people only take a blue pouch. I have a black pouch that I only use. I don't put my pouch in the mailbox because I'm the one that gets them from the mailbox. So I don't put it in the mailbox and leave it for a day and then go back the next day and get it. So I always use the same. The pouch system, man. That's a
good one. I like that. The pouch system.
Well, don't tell Caleb that I brought any value.
we have the guys always seem to want inspection sheets. And like years ago, we used to go to like any gas station and pick up like inspection books
Yeah.
for the trucks. And now I just print them off online and like take them to, I don't know, Staples or whatever. And we get them printed by the hundreds or whatever. There's like six forms per sheet, and they have it in their clipboard and stuff like that. And every day they got to fill one out. Um, and we always seem to run out of those sheets. So
Would
Maybe
you
we
ever
could,
go? Would you ever use an app for that?
can you? If you could,
There
absolutely.
is, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There's an MTO logbook app.
Oh, yeah.
It's Canada wide, I believe, and then they've got like I think they tailor it to like your province essentially.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, is there? I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's a bunch of them. I
And
don't.
have you guys been pulled over with this app? Like,
I
are
no,
the MTO okay to just fucking look at your phone? Because I
they're
feel like
supposed to be.
Yeah, so
they're supposed to be. I
Yeah.
I
remember showing them pictures of what's what's that paper that you got to carry? These things.
ownership.
No, this pictures of your CVOR,
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
On my phone, they're like,
Good to
"Where's your
flash that.
original copy?" And
good to flash that.
Good to flash that on YouTube.
I don't think it matters. I don't even think it showed up, honestly.
No, it didn't. I'm just joking.
But
If anyone wants to crop Chad's CVOR and use it for themselves,
Yeah.
go to our
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Check this episode out on YouTube, or you too can use Chad's CVOR on your vehicle.
but yeah, like I've shown them pictures of that on my phone before, and they freak out on you. Like, I need the original copy.
Why
that
First
don't
one
off,
you
you
there
need
is
you
there
need the physical.
there
Why
is
would you
no
just
fucking
photocopy
original
it?
copy. It come
Photocopy.
yeah, but I just didn't have it in my truck at the time. It might have been like the week between CVORs because our CVOR renews in October for some reason. But anyway, so I can get an app, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
But not for the
Great.
CVOR, just for the inspections.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Maybe
there
I'll
is an.
do that.
I'll message because one of my guys, one of my friends drives for a fleet, and they use it as a fleet app.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
I can't. He told me what it was called because he just.
I know the name. I just wouldn't say it here. I don't think
Oh,
we're not sponsored or anything like that.
Uh,
But
throw it
No,
up in that group chat.
there's a
oh
group,
yeah, I'll throw it in here.
there's a group chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
ah,
I'll check it out.
yeah. Screw them.
No pun
Don't-
intended.
I'm ready to check that out.
I've got a story from this past week here that I'll throw at you guys. Get your interpretation on it here.
The season hasn't even started. The work isn't rolling in. How do you have stories?
I know, right? And you'll probably be able to call out which client of mine this is a story from. So we got hit, what was it, like last week, maybe the week before, we got hit with like a really cold spell, lots of
this is
snow.
the fish client, isn't it?
I didn't even get a sentence in. So
Okay.
I get an email and it's Mike, the pond heater's not working, all of our lights are out, there's something wrong with the electrical, like what can you do for us? So I asked, he said, I checked the breakers, like nothing's wrong, I reset things. Like, okay, did you check the GFCI outlet? Just reset it, it should be fine. Yeah, nothing's working. So then I'm like, okay, do I drive to all the way to Kitchener just to figure this out, or do I just contact my electrician and have them go out there and see what's up? Because it's not the GFCI, it's not the breaker, I won't be able to do anything. So I sent the electrician out there, and don't hear anything back from anybody. And just about like a day or so ago, I get an invoice, $150, reset the GFCI outlet.
Oh.
From the electrician.
Oh.
Still cheaper than you going out there yourself.
Still
Yeah.
cheaper than me going up by myself, but yeah, that's
So the question is, are you passing that on?
I am not, but I will now have a discussion with that client that, you know what, all these fish trips and all of these other things,
True.
there's not going to be another of this happening anymore. I feel like it is partially on me for holding his hand for so long that he would come to me, but yeah, that
Yeah, but if he comes to you and it has an expectation of paying you for your service to the pond, that's different.
yeah, that's true.
If his expectation is for you to call an electrician and pay the electrician to hit his GFI, that's not a fair expectation. But if he expects to pay that bill for someone to come out, then that's fine.
Mhm.
Like, you know, technically he should pay 200 for you facilitating it.
Did the electrician show
True.
the homeowner what was wrong?
I don't know. I didn't get anything except the invoice. Nobody, I emailed, nobody's messaged me back or anything like that. Just the invoice.
Because that would be important for me to know. Like, if the electrician actually held the guy's hand and pushed the button with him,
Yeah.
like the homeowner is paying for that $150 call.
Right.
They're like, that's not on you at all. Like you're going out of your way to be the good guy on this one.
I guess you could have said to the homeowner, I can call my electrician in, but he'll be invoicing you for showing up.
I should have said something like that, but he in his email is like, my fish are gonna die, and he's got some like koi fish in there. So I was just like, hey, I need to get an electrician out there as soon as possible. I'm not going to be able to do anything. So I should have emailed him back and said, yes, I can bring my electrician out, but it will cost something to see what's out there, because then that probably would have pressured him to actually do as I said and check his outlet. But yeah,
you're a better man than me for absorbing that. I think, like, how long is this pond? Is what, 2 or 3 years old now?
Yeah, it's 2 years.
And you're still.
What was the warranty on the pond?
There was no warranty on the pond.
Like you stated, no warranty on this pond?
Yes. I told him, because it's my very first pond build, I told him that these are the terms and you're getting a good deal in the pond in terms of me being the first one I've ever done. And but there is no warranty on this work. Everything else there is a warranty on. Like we did a walkway, a fire pit, patio, steps, and everything like that. But yeah.
I think this guy's taking you for a ride now. Like, I think you've done as more than what you need to fulfill your end of everything with this guy. Like, I would be getting snippy.
That being said, there's still work for me to do there. So there's that as well.
Well, then it gives you an opportunity
Yeah.
to
You can recoup for sure.
And I do like the guy, and I do like the couple there. Yeah.
Are you gonna do more ponds?
Will I do
Are
more?
you gonna make them a big part of your business with this current pond experience?
I would like to do ponds where it fits into a design. Like I really like the pond experience, and I really like the outcome of the pond build. It's just I wouldn't push for doing a pond. It would have to really make sense for the client, and they would actually really want to have it. Have you guys ever done ponds for clients? Other than that commercial pond, PK?
I was driving the other day and I was actually thinking, like, what's the very first thing that, like, everyone, but you two in particular, because we're sitting here, what's the very first thing that you contracted on your own and collected money for? Like, what's the very, very first thing you went out and did and contracted and collected money for? Because from my knowledge and my memory, the absolute very first thing that I ever did was, we used to hang out at this pool hall, and someone who worked there asked me to repair their pond. I thought, sure. And so we collected some rocks and we went over there, and we quickly concluded that we knew nothing about it, and it was a huge mistake, and we should have probably charged more than $300. And
wow.
And then these people just kept, okay, to put this in perspective, this is like 30 years ago, right? Like, this $300 was a lot more 30 years ago. Gas was like 38 cents a liter. You were in kindergarten. Like, it was a different time then.
You're right.
I'm being dead straight.
Yeah.
Gas was literally like 34 cents a liter. Like, this was
Yeah.
It's $20 to fill up your car. I remember when it was $20 to fill your car up with gas. Like, so I just remember this whole thing being a total shit show, and me being like, I will never, ever, ever be a contractor. This is terrible. I'll never do this. And we like lost our shirts. We had to go back 30 times. The people were pissed at us. I think we had to avoid the pool hall for a while. Like, it was a terrible, awful experience that and that's like the first time I think I ever did something on my own where someone said, hey, we were using like whatever car I had at the time to transport these rocks around. Like, it was terrible. And then I for something that popped in my head, and then I thought, well, like, what's your two guys' first time that you ever charged someone money to do something, and how did that go for you? Because for me, much like now, it went poorly, but I just kept doing it. Like,
I think I want to say it was a lift and relay, but thinking about it more, I did a mulch job for a lady. Cleaned out all her flower beds, mulched them, put in that stupid black edging thing there, and by the end of it, it was like a $500 job or something like that. That was only 10 years ago, not 30 years ago. Can't if we're gonna put a timestamp on it, I'm not sure how much gas costs at that time, but um, it was like $500, and by the end of it, I sort of realized that she was old. She was like bag of bones, like 80 years old lady, but she was hitting on me. And I'm like, oh, is there anything else you can do around here? And like rubbing my arm and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, like I just want to get my $500.
The Tom Cruise of landscaping.
Yeah. Anyway, that's got to be the first thing I took money for. And that's it, just the mulch. We didn't do anything else. But yeah, that's got to be my introduction into contracting was with an 80-year-old lady and a mulch job.
I still remember my first somewhat side job, and then my first job that I actually quoted on my own as a side job. My first side job was with my manager, and he had one of his friends hire me to also help him lay like a backyard driveway, like a drive through into the garage, and then a pad on the out back of it. But I remember, and I was still really young, like I was in first year university or whatever. And this was on a Sunday, and I remember waking up completely hungover and not wanting to do it, not wanting to get up, and looking out the window, and it was pouring rain. And I was like, yes, I can go back to bed. I'm fine. Get woken up 5 minutes later by my mom or dad, and they're like, you got to go. He's waiting for you in the car outside. And so I had to get up, go, and then he's like, yeah, we're working. Like, it's pouring rain, but we're laying on HPB, so you're good. And so I was like, so yeah, that was my first introduction to that. And then like my first actual me doing it. Do you guys remember those like 16 by 16 1-inch slabs? And they had like little cobblestone in them.
Yeah. Exposed aggregate patio stones.
Well, it wasn't exposed aggregate. Like there are these like little square cobblestones. They're called Romano, and then you could get the curved ones too that made like a circle together. I quoted like a front walkway of that, and that went actually really well.
Yeah, I did some patio slab jobs when we started out. Wouldn't do them now, but like I mean, like when I say patio slabs, I'm not talking about like blue. I mean like ones. The 1-inch, like 2x2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I've done my share of those.
Have we ever this is like my worst experience contracting. Like, have we ever talked about me and the mailboxes? Have you guys ever heard that story? The mailbox story? So I was working at the original contractor I worked at, and he was always searching for shit for us to do in the winter, right? So he said, hey, I have this contract for you get $3,500 for the winter, which again, to put this in context, I was 16, so $3,500 was a lot of money. And you got to shovel 379 mailboxes on this route. and on average it takes about 5-6 hours to do the route. I said, oh, okay, sure. That seems like something I would want to do. And my buddy worked there. So we took 2 routes, 758 mailboxes, or whatever it was. And we were getting like 7-8 grand for it. And we thought, wow, we are so rich. Like we're really, really rich. Like,
Really, really?
we are so rich. So the first night and back then there wasn't like weather apps, there was no cell phones there, like, so we get called at home the first. You got to go out and you got to salt these mailboxes. Okay. So we jumped in my buddy's mom's Ford Taurus station wagon, and he drove, and we opened up the back hatch, and I sat there, and we'd pull up to a mailbox, and we'd throw out some salt at each mailbox as we went, right? And we were doing it forever, like 6, 7, 8, 10 hours. And I'm like, how many mailboxes have we done? And Loaf was like, I think we've done like 150. And I'm like, I quickly concluded that I think if you were driving by the mailboxes at 100 kilometers an hour, you could not get to 700 mailboxes in like. I started doing the math on it. Like,
yeah, that doesn't seem
we can't hit. They said it took 350 mailboxes, took like 5 hours. So we figured 750 mailboxes might take 10 or 12 hours. I'm like, we thought we were going to be hitting like 70 mailboxes an hour. Like what? Like
more than one a minute.
We're hitting a mailbox every 45 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, this is crazy. So anyway, we went up on the way home on the first night. We're turning to go up to my parents' street. It's like, I don't know, 4:30 in the morning, and we made the turn. It's a short little jog. I fell asleep in the front seat. The next time I wake up, the hood of the car is folded on top of me, and there's steam everywhere. The car is racing. My buddy is like laying over the steering wheel, half conscious. I'm like, what just happened? Because I fell asleep like just as we were kind of coming. I get out. I'm like standing like at the corner of where my parents' house is. Like, because he fell asleep and hit the light pole, like on the street. It fell across the road. The car, I reached in and I went in to try and shut the car off, but he had hit the steering column so hard, and he's a big guy, like 375-pound guy.
Wow.
He hit the steering column so hard, he shoved the keys in the dashboard. So you couldn't turn them off. So we just had to let the car run out of fucking coolant and then seize.
Wow.
So
Wow.
after this, I'm like, okay, well, that sucked. We clearly, our 7 grand is kind of evaporated, and it's only the first night of the whole winter. Like 2 weeks late. So I had I used to have back then I had like 5-liter Mustang, and I usually put it away November 30th. But the first ripping like 30-centimeter snowstorm happened like November 15th. And we had originally planned on using the Taurus, but we had previously destroyed it. So all that we had left was the 5-liter Mustang hatchback to shovel 750 mailboxes with 30 centimeters of snow on them.
Well, you could get there faster, at least.
Well, no, because the car, shockingly, that car's not great in the snow. Wow. Just put it out there. It's not a, so, and with 5 speeds, anyways, it takes like 7 days to shovel all the mailboxes.
Wow.
like it takes forever. We get them all shoveled, but by the time we shoveled them, the plows had been around and reburied them all.
Holy.
So we had to go back and shovel them again. And so now we've shoveled these mailboxes 2 or 3 times. And it's brutal. Like, we're out there, but we're trying to fulfill our end of the contract, right? And get our $7,000. And we have shoveled and shoveled and shoveled these mailboxes. Mid-December, after just basically doing nothing but shoveling mailboxes for weeks, all the other people at the company who had taken this contract, which there was like 7 other routes, none of them had ever gone out once.
Wow.
they had said fuck. So we were the only two idiots out shoveling, and they lost the contract. So we never got paid a penny for any of it.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is again where I was like, I'm never being my own contractor. I will always work for someone else. But the story gets, so then after the contract got lost, one of the foremen at the company got offered to hold the contract himself and then
What?
redivide the contract out. So he called us and he said, hey, guys, part of me taking over the contract is I have to do an inspection on all the mailboxes. And if there's a bit of ice or a bit of snow, you got to shovel them. I'll pay you guys $1 a mailbox to do it. We said, okay, sure. This has gone so good for us so far. Fucking sign us up for more, baby. So far we've worked, I don't know, 40 days, never got paid. Not many, maybe 20 days, never got paid. Destroyed a car. And now the two of us have not concluded yet, because I don't think we were like 17, have not concluded yet that this is bad and we should stop doing it. So we're like, sure, man, we'll go shovel, we'll go check the mailboxes. So we go out and we check, like, we do it for a week, and you're just driving by them now because they are shoveled. There's been like a heat freeze thaw, and we're checking these, and I don't know, we say we check like 1,000 mailboxes or something, and we're like, fuck yeah, we've got $1,000 now. Then that guy's not paying us. The whole mailbox situation concluded with us like going to the guy's condo building that owed us the last $1,000 and waiting downstairs, and then till someone went in, jumping the elevator and going up to his condo, and the two of us pounding on the door and going, okay, bro, it all ends here. We need to be paid now. And then the two of us standing in this guy's condo with his wife and his kid, he gave us our $1,000 and we left. And then we never, and that was like, I was like, I'll never do anything with snow again. I ended up obviously doing many, many more snow things but that was just my, like, the mailbox thing was, it was just absolutely the most brutal thing I've ever done to get $1,000. And even then I had to split it. $500. Terrible experience.
Man.
I'm just not a quick learner. Hey, you had a terrible time with these mailboxes. You want to do it again? Yes.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, bring it on.
Oh.
That is my terrible mailbox story.
Yeah, do you want to, can we touch on that homeowner thing that I was talking about, that HOA? Like, is that normal for you guys? Like, do you guys have homeowner associations in Toronto?
Retirement communities have them.
That's it.
I've dealt with them. Yeah.
So
are they called HOAs here? I don't think so. No,
I don't think that's how they refer to them necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I feel like America is just full of HOAs. Like they always have to ask permission whenever they want something done, all the time. I couldn't imagine living in a place where I have to ask my neighbors if I can put in a pool or if I can redo my front entranceway or something. But it seems a lot of the time when I'm looking online, seeing these American jobs and stuff like that, like, oh, the neighbor was upset and he called HOA on us and all this stuff. Like it boggles my mind, sort of. In the land of the free, America, you have to ask your neighbor's permission to put in a fucking ginkgo in your front yard or put in like a 3 set of steps. Like, I just don't get it.
What if your neighbor's allergic to the ginkgo? I mean, you got to consider these things.
No, here I would still plant the fucking ginkgo because it's my property. No one's going to tell me what to plant on my property.
So, like, some of the communities we've worked in, you own the interior of the building. So, from the drywall in belongs to you. The bricks out belong to the retirement HOA, I guess. For whatever, I don't know what they call it here, but let's say the retirement community. So the exterior of the buildings is owned by the exterior of the buildings, and the grounds are owned by the the corporation, I guess, or the HOA inside the houses. When you buy the house for 500,000, you're essentially buying the square footage and drywall inside the house, and you can do what you please with that. But when
So
it
it's
comes to
basically like a condo, right?
yeah,
Because you don't own the hallways or the elevator in your condo and all this shit, right?
I have
But you own.
we used to build a lot of those things like commercially, and people when they're buying there, I feel like a lot of times they're at the end of their lives. And I don't mean like the next day, but I mean they're in the end phase of their life.
Yeah.
And they're normally fairly wealthy people that buy into these places. And these people are used to doing whatever the fuck they want. And then you're building the landscape and you're doing stuff on their property. And they're like, well, I don't want a spruce tree. And I'm like, well, it's an architecturally controlled neighborhood. I really don't give a fuck what you want, bro. But it's my front yard. And I'm like, again, I'm not even working for you, so I could give a fuck about you. Get out of my way. And so you end up bumping heads with these people constantly. And then I would say to them, what are you paying in condo fees here? And they'd be like, $800 a month. And so I said, well, why did you move here? Like, well, my house was a lot to maintain. I said, like, what, outside? And they're like, yeah. I said, how much do you think it costs to have someone come fucking cut your grass and plow your snow? Why would you leave the house you love?
Yeah.
Find a good service provider to cut your grass, prune your garden, prune your trees. Find a good, reputable service provider, pay them well, and it's still cheaper than moving into these stupid retirement communities that people don't like living in once they're there. Like, this is my
completely agreed. Like, I don't know if I could ever be a part of that.
So one of the retirement communities we did in between the end units was a swale, and it was all 3-5 river stone, huge river stone. And the homeowner, an older couple, probably in their late 70s, early 80s, they did not want 3-5 river stone up the side of their house because they weren't able to walk down the side of their house anymore to get to the backyard. I agree with them. I think it's ridiculous that these people can't access their backyard. Why would you want the end unit then? Why would you pay extra for the end unit if you can't walk around it to get to your backyard? But architecturally, I got to fill the space with 3-5 river rock. So every day, these two homeowners in their late 70s would come out and they would collect these rocks and they would slowly move them to the curb in the roadway, and they would start a pile of them. And these
in the roadway,
like in the roadway of the community, because they were like, we don't want these rocks. And
what are they, beavers? They're trying to dam up the neighborhood or what?
No, they're just trying to get the rocks out from in between the house because they don't want them there, and they have nothing. And like they say to me, I have nothing but time. I'm like, cool.
Did they have a wheelbarrow, or was this like all hand job?
Pail. They had a couple pails. They'd put 2 or 3 rocks in. And this was a steep incline too, right? This was an incline. It was a walkout basement. So every day they'd carry it and they'd dump it at the curb. And at the end of the day, I would turn to my skid steer operator and I'd be like, oh, go over to 75 and scoop up the pile of rocks in the road and flick it back down. So every day we would go back and scoop up like these people would work 8 hours hard carrying these pails of 3-5 Riverstone. They would work hard on the incline, carrying them and dumping them on the road to make a statement that they did not want rocks at the side of their house. And every single day I would scoop up, sometimes me, sometimes someone else, we would scoop up the rocks and we would dump them back at the side of the house daily in a skid steer. And the conclusion, I had like long hair down past my shoulders when we were doing this job and a big beard. And when we finished the job in, say, October or whatever, I, for whatever reason, cut my hair and shaved my beard into a goatee. And so when we went back in December to wrap the trees, we were in these people's backyard and we're wrapping the trees. And of course, everyone comes out to talk to you. And they said, oh, where's the big guy that was running this job before? That guy was like such an asshole. He was so mean to us, but it was me. I had just cut my hair, shaved my beard. So I was like, I just said to him, I said, yeah, that guy's an asshole. I'd call the office about him. His name is Mike. Here's the office number. So they would, when we used to do those communities, there would be at least 5 to 10 phone calls about me per day. because you can't give these people the time of day. Like
You
his
can't.
retirement community. This. So we did this.
You're shitting all over Mike's
Uh,
bread and butter here.
No, he's working in a different kind of place because he's building, like, these people were not allowed to build patios. They were not allowed to do anything, like anything ever. It was all, so we did all the sod and the sprinkler system when it got installed. There was a lady that lived in one of the units and we called her the smoking lady. And all she did, she was like, I
Because
don't
she
know.
was smoking hot?
No, that's not right.
Oh.
She would sit on her back patio all day, chain smoking cigarettes and drinking Jack Daniels. And every day, she was like, I don't know, like 85. She would come out at 10 o'clock in the morning with a bottle of Jack and she'd chain smoke cigarettes and drink Jack Daniels. Say
Was
props to
she
her.
a yeller? Like, did she yell
No,
at you guys?
she's super
Was she a
nice.
pointer?
No,
Oh, she was nice.
nicest lady in the complex by far.
Okay.
We
We-
just called her the smoking lady. Be like, what's up, smoking lady? She'd be like, hey, what's
She
up?
was smoking nice.
She smoked a lot of cigarettes. She was like, I mean, her hands were yellow. Like this lady was smoking a lot of cigarettes. So we install the sod. Of course, the timer is broken on the irrigation. So the only way to get the irrigation to change zones was to assign someone to stay there all day, every day for like a week and go click the timer to change the zones to water the sod, or all the sod dies. These are your choices, right? So I said, okay. So I picked this guy and I said, okay, your job is to just hang out in this complex and every hour switch the zone and just rotate through the 5 zones every hour, switching zones on heavy water. He's like, okay, cool, I can do that. And we would show up there like 2 days a week because I think he did it for 2, and he would be fucking wasted. Like, I mean, wasted drunk on the old smoking lady's patio, staggering around, smoking her cigarettes, drinking her Jack Daniels. Like, this is landscaping, baby.
Wow, holy.
This is what commercial landscaping is.
Yeah.
Drinking on the back patio, smoking some lady's cigarettes, moving the zone controller of the irrigation because it's fucked up. That is commercial landscaping to a T. Like,
I have to say that's funner than a lot of the commercial landscapes I've done. I haven't had a smoke. We had this old lady who, she was a yeller and she would insult the guys and whenever they were doing sod, and then she's also a Facebook user. So she'd go online and completely talk shit about the guys about how they didn't lay the sod right and they were throwing it and they were kicking the rolls to roll them out and stuff like this. Like, completely fucking nut bar. And then like I'd ask the city guys about it. Oh, that's Barb. Don't get into it with Barb. Like, everybody knows she's nuts. Don't worry. Like,
that's a name. That's a handle. Yeah.
Barb.
Just Barb.
Yeah, that's a handle right there.
Fucking Barb.
That is a handle.
Yeah. So I don't know if she was drunk, but she might have been drunk. You're right. You can't give these people the time of day. Like, no. If you cater to every one of these people, like, you're losing hours and hours out of your day trying to do the little things that they ask of you.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, this tree's too close to my house. And I'd be like, yeah, it's not going to be a problem for you. They'd be like, what do you mean? I said, by the time this tree is big enough to be near your house, you'll be dead.
Yeah, you'll be dead.
And they'd be like, I'm calling your office. Go ahead, whatever. You'll be dead.
I've always wanted to be on a commercial site and get into it with someone and then ask for my boss's number. And then I give them my number and then let the phone ring and pick it up and continue to tell them off from my phone.
Continue to tell them
in front of them. That's a dream of mine, but it hasn't happened yet. And you can't do that with homeowners, like at a client's house, but you can do it commercially.
Yes.
And I think that's what I like.
Oh, you could do it with homeowners, but it's going to lead to
not if you want to see your paycheck.
Not a good time. It's not.
I fucking told you, just hit the GFI outlet. I'm not paying $150 again, you son of a bitch.
We had a retirement community we were working on and they weren't paying us. and they had not paid the roofers and not paid the drywallers. It was just a long chain of, and these people were living in these houses and they were like half done, and raccoons were in the attics. And these people had sold their houses. They were going into retirement. It was supposed to be a good time in their lives, and it wasn't. The builder was the worst builder I've ever worked for in my life. And they stopped paying us. So when they stopped paying us, I sent a guy to go get, there's a bunch of unsold units. So we used to store our equipment in the garages of the unsold units. And I sent one of our guys to go get one of the skid steers because we're not working there anymore until we start getting paid. That's what the owner said. I said, cool. So I said, go get the case from the Harwood townhouses or whatever. And when he went there to get it, a woman came at him with a knife because she was so crazed about, like, and I get it. She's like 80 and she doesn't want to deal with like the fact there's raccoons living in her roof because there's no soffit on her house and half the shingles blew off. And now she's seeing us pulling our machines out and she knows she's never getting sawed, and she's lived for like 4 years with dirt swirling through her house. And it was a horrible situation. And maybe she was dehydrated and she's in her 80s. And so she came out with like a steak knife. Like, so he was like, wow, shit. And he called me. He's like, dude, so I had to have like a meeting with the
police.
The head of the, well, I had a meeting with the head of the condo board or whatever it is here. Like, I think they're condo boards here, right? And I said, listen, dude, like, we can't work here or I'm going to have to call the police. You have to keep your residents away from our staff. They can't communicate with them. It was like a big thing. They had to sign off waivers saying that they wouldn't come near us. Yeah, because she literally came out with like a big knife. Like, you leave that equipment here.
Wow.
I get it why she's upset. I totally understand. But it's got nothing to do with us. Go stab the builder. Like, he's the one not paying the bills. He's the one that didn't put soffit on you. Like, we're the landscape contractor. I'm not responsible for your fucking soffit. Like,
maybe she was just trying to get the raccoons out of the attic with a knife.
My guy was like, hey man, he said, like, listen, I can take this lady even if she has a knife. Like, I know I can take her. Like, if she comes at me with this knife again, I know she's not quick enough. I will get her and I will win, but I don't want to beat up an old lady. Like, that's not what this, like, it's like, I know this is commercial landscaping. Things are going to be rough. You're going to have to do a lot of weird stuff, but beating old ladies to get the machines off site is not, that's beyond my moral compass. I'm not doing that. Oh. Fair enough. Don't do it under any circumstance. Yeah, it's whatever.
So have you written that into your company policy now?
No.
There's a clause for fighting old ladies.
I can't even get people to put receipts in the house.
How are you going to get them to fight off old ladies?
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever live in one of those communities. Like, I think I would rather pay someone to cut my grass.
Yeah.
What's it like where you work, Mike?
For the most part, it's good. When I start like on a new street, I'll usually get one person that comes up to me who is like, hey, I just want to warn you about the person across the street. They're crazy. They're nuts. Whatever they say, just ignore them. Like, it's actually a pretty good community for that. And the people that I've worked for there have been really amazing. There've been a few quotes, or at least like consultations that I went to, that I'm very happy I haven't worked for them, because at least in those communities, the red flags are very, very obvious. So it's like, yeah, I know it's not a client for me.
Is your truck branded with your phone number and everything?
I have a magnet on my one truck, so I could always just take it off. And that's the truck that I take to the community.
Nothing says I'm a pro like a How many episodes have you done on marketing? Like, personally.
I haven't done a marketing episode for personally myself.
No, I'm talking
I've interviewed
about, like, that's what I'm saying. How many people have you interviewed about marketing and you're running magnets? I love it.
I don't even think I would have like a very conspicuous branded truck. I would have a sticker on the side panel, if anything.
I hate branding.
Yeah, I wouldn't be big on having a wrap or anything like that.
I fucking hate it.
I like clean and very simple.
We like Christie's dump truck has a big crown on the back, but it's just a crown. And then on all the trucks, it just says at Paver King. There's no phone numbers. There's no, like, I don't want people
but
calling
that is
me.
branding. That's still branding.
Yeah, but it's as minimal as possible.
Yeah,
I like
which
that.
I like as well.
Like your branding, Chad, is way too intense for me.
It says less words than yours does.
I
It
know,
just
but
says NDL.
it's like wrapping half the. I don't.
No, it's a black stripe.
Yeah, it's
and
a
it says
black stripe. It's a
NDL.
big black fucking stripe.
Google NDL. It's going to get you fucking nowhere.
It's
Not
probably
for
some
me, at
porn
least.
thing.
Maybe. But it's not going to take you to me.
It's not gonna-
If they at Paver King, they're going to find you. But if they search
No.
NDL, they'll never find me.
Yeah, well, that's a legitimate point. Yeah. Doesn't it just says NDL? Doesn't say Natural Designs.
Nope, just NDL.
All right,
And then
but
the
it is
logo.
bigger than my branding.
I don't know.
So the black pickup truck we have, you know how when you see the Dodges and they're like the power wagons, and it says Power Wagon on the side of the box going up.
Yeah.
Ours say that truck now says Paver King there in black on the black truck.
So like ghost writing
Yeah, it's like
or whatever,
yes,
ghost letters
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah,
It's pretty.
I like that.
That's pretty. Like that's probably the most branded thing we have is the big crown on Christie's truck on the back tailgate. Like I guess if you know, you know. But like, and I'm gonna put a crown on the other truck. We got to wrap the blue triaxle black because all of our trucks are like really wrapped all black. Like there's hardly any chrome on them, so people do know they're ours, I guess, but they don't have. I guess that is the branding. The lack of branding is the branding. Maybe I don't.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are wrapping skid steers and shovels these days, like full, fancy wraps. And I mean, whatever if it works for you, but to me, it just looks gaudy. Like it looks ridiculous.
But
to wrap an entire shovel.
There's a big push on though that you should be advertising your company, not advertising Kubota,
which is fine because I rip off the Kubota stickers or the case stickers and put a big black stripe and NDL, but not wrapping the whole shovel. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
Well, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think it's just a level of what. I mean, I have no leads for this, although I've closed every job, like residential job that I've priced. I'm batting like 5 for, and I actually meant to follow up on we have one like big $350,000 job that I just couldn't be bothered to follow up on today because, I'm just swimming in cash here. Like why I wouldn't have made that call today. Although I'm really tired from moving snow basically 24 hours a day for the last, I don't know, 10 days. So I guess it depends on what kind of leads you like. I don't want people to walk by the truck and write a phone number. It's just not, I haven't found in my life, I haven't found those leads to be productive. Maybe other people do. Like if everyone who walks down the street sees your vehicles and sees your branding and calls, and that's how you fill your calendar, I think that's awesome. But me personally, I just haven't got a lot of productive leads out of those kind of calls. Like, just never been good for me.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are actually seeing a truck drive by and actually like remembering the name to Google later and actually knowing, what the service it is that you provide. I find that just a yard sign works 100 times better.
I let Nancy Green put up yard signs so people call her.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I don't want people calling me. I'm like, here, you put your sign out front. You can say you did this job. And then people just call her and they think that she did the whole job and it's her company and she's in charge of all the construction. And I'm good with that. I don't need the greater glory of saying I'm the one. Nancy can run the show. So, and that has worked actually really well for us the last probably since Paver King sort of was born. That's the way we've done it. We've always put Nancy's sign out front. So, and then the calls all go to her. And I think that's a good system for us because she's better at answering her phone and better at calling people back.
I'm envious of that system. I could use a Nancy, absolutely.
A fancy Nancy?
Fancy Nancy.
I was going to say it, but I thought we were past that.
If I could funnel all the work through a fancy Nancy and have her validate the clients for me, and all I had to do was give her a price based on her drawing. Hey, I'm back in residential landscape. But me having to micromanage every part of the meeting between the client and the budget and all this stuff, and no, thank you.
So one thing that's good about it is Nancy doesn't, because she's a landscape designer. It's what she does for a living. It's how she pays her bills. She doesn't go places for free and design things for free. So oftentimes, well, always, people have already paid Nancy. Probably especially since the restart of Paver King, when times were a bit tougher to get jobs, her and I used to go into it together, and we would both put a bunch of time and energy in it, and then hope that we closed the job. And we probably closed like 75-80%. So it wasn't a waste of our time doing it that way. But since the rebirth of, I guess, the birth of, like, she is most of, I would say 95% of the time, 90% of the time, she has already been paid for all her work before we ever even put a bid in.
Does
And then
Nancy work exclusively with you guys, or does she work for other
she has a whole bunch.
contractors?
She has a
Yeah,
whole bunch of people she works for.
so she's a
When
popular lady now.
she has different relationships with everybody, right? It just depends
Yeah.
on what the relationship they want and how it worked. But
Yeah.
yeah, if I was her only client, she would not be doing well. We don't do enough work, right? Like landscape.
You could put her in a truck,
Sure.
get her working.
I'm looking for people to count trucks at night. Yeah, it's hard to get those kind of people.
I want to see more Paver King, Nancy Green collaborations on Instagram.
Yeah, more reels with
More reels.
Or reels.
Yeah.
with Nancy.
Well, we're working on some projects this year. All the projects we have are Nancy finds, except one. One was a mic lead that we closed last week. So
a mic lead.
It was a mic lead, yeah. Wow, I think it was actually a Kelly lead that then Kelly shuffled to Mike. Mike doesn't get that many leads.
So, like, are you guys getting calls, or are the calls coming in?
My calls have dried up for the past 2 weeks.
Really?
I think because of the
starting
snow.
up again.
Oh, really?
People are asking me to come out and have a look at their job, and there's still 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. I'm like, I can't do anything for you. Like, call me back in a couple of weeks. Like, okay, but will you remember this number? Absolutely not. You're gonna have to go through the whole system again. Like, I will absolutely not remember your number.
Oh, chances of me calling you are zero.
Yeah. Or can you call me back in a couple of weeks? No, I can't. You call me back.
Quite a few, maybe not a few times in the last 10 days, I've like worked and then slept at the yard for a couple hours and then went back out to work to move the snow.
In the sea can?
No, in my truck. I'm not a barbarian. It's not like it's not like Walking Dead at our yard here, man. Like
I still have to visit. I have to pick up those Chinese excavators.
The excavators are there. They're still there. They're not they do attract a lot of attention from any visitors to the yard though.
Really?
Everyone's like, are those the excavators? I'm like, yes.
Really?
No way.
And everyone's conclusion about them, everyone who's been near them, is they are of much higher quality than you would anticipate.
We should plan a meet and greet at Paver King's yard.
Sure. Bring it on.
With the Chinese excavator.
We should do an episode, right? We each should on like Chad should have bought 3. We each could have sat on an excavator.
Yeah. A Chinese excavator round table.
I had Brad. Brad was in the yard fixing something of ours that we broke, or I don't know, probably. I think he was pulling the splits out of the bins so that we could dump with air gates on the anyways. But he had a good look at those excavators.
Really?
And
what did Brad conclude?
He's obviously a machine mechanic. He thought they were pretty good. He was like, these things are pretty good. You can see the swing motor, and they're gas motor from Briggs & Stratton. I think the reason that they're the gas motor is, first of all, an excavator that big does not need a shit ton of power. And the other thing is it's easy to find parts for that motor. Or Brad said that's really easy to just, if the motor blew up, you could just pull the whole motor out and plop a new one in and you're good to go again.
In an hour.
Yeah.
Keep a spare one in your trailer.
Keep a spare one. Anyways, everyone who's been near them, we've all concluded that they seem like they have a lot of value. That they're good pieces. They're decent little. I mean, if you're using them for what they're intended,
Digging.
their intended purpose is to dig small patios and
Yeah.
irrigation trenches, and their intended purpose is not to build an armor stone wall.
No,
Yeah, like,
no, for
but if
sure.
you're I think they're of high quality. Yeah.
So
Brad also said, because I heard you talking about this on the Almond podcast, that he can put a valve switch in it to switch the controls.
really, it's
Yeah.
just a switch, like it's
Oh,
that simple?
okay. I'm not. I am oversimplifying what he needs to do here because
I don't think it's that easy.
he said it wasn't a big deal
Yeah.
to him. It's a big deal to me and
Yeah.
probably to you, but for him, if he was tackling this problem with a vast understanding of how hydraulics work, he said it wasn't. He could do it. He could make it so it'd switch back and forth.
See, then I might keep one.
Well, you'd have to talk to him about.
We were looking at a tree job in a city that is in our region, I guess, and there's 750 potted trees that need to go in an 18-day span. That's like if you work fucking 18 days straight, you have to plant these 750 potted trees. I'm like, maybe those little shovels could do it.
Probably.
Yeah.
You need one in Cat and one in John Deere.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
If you successfully planted 750 potted trees in 18 days, would that pay for those excavators in your mind?
Oh, you could buy if I got the price that I would quote those trees at, I could buy a new 8-ton in 18 days.
Would you rather use the two little excavators or use an 8-ton with an auger on it so you could spin 360 and drill the holes?
You're not allowed to use augers to do trees on city jobs that I've been involved in anyway.
No, some people have rules. Yeah, tree planting is the most complex thing in the world.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is there a reason?
Because every arborist thinks they're next to God.
Oh, I see.
They're responsible for these trees as they're their own children, and like if you don't do it exactly their way, they're not going to make it. And have you ever tried to take the entire fucking basket off a tree?
Oh, God.
Insane.
Super stupid.
Ridiculous specs, some of them.
Yeah.
Like you just end up massacring the tree trying to get
There's
the entire.
no way to do it. Yeah. We generally cut the top third off.
Yeah.
Have a set of bolt cutters and cut the top third of the basket off once the tree's installed in the hole. I've done that. Trying to get the whole basket off is totally stupid.
Yeah. Ridiculous. We
there's
a go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, man.
I'm not even opposed to just like cutting the basket in a couple spots, leaving a couple loops if you ever have to yank it up and replace it or something like that. Like I don't think that leaving the basket on is gonna harm the tree.
I was going through, it wasn't Bid and Go, but it was like one of those things.
Yeah.
Recently. And there's this town of Ajax puts out this tree tender every year, and it's must dig by hand. Now, I haven't looked at this shit in like 5 or 6 years or been through Bid and Go in a long, long time, right? Or whatever bidding service this was. I don't know which one it was. They're all a big fucking scam. All they're doing is trying to get you to give them $200, and they send you to some other website. They send you to a third-party website. They send you to a fourth-party website, and you end up back at the city's website. And they're like, "Give us $250, and we'll send you the plans." And I'm like, "Could you not have just fucking put that on the city website to begin with? Why do I have to jump through 5 different bidding sites to get back to this fucking link?" Anyways, point of contention. I haven't been down that road for a long time, and I was doing it this winter for a couple reasons, and this thing popped up, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this from like 10 years ago. I wonder if they're still digging this shit by hand." And I pilfered through all the paperwork on the town, and they are still. It's must dig by hand trees.
Are these potted trees, or are they like
root ball, like full 60, 70 mil root ball trees?
So you have to hand dig these trees in.
Yeah.
Put into the skid steer bucket or the backhoe bucket or whatever.
Yes.
Put that in the back of the dump truck.
Yes.
and then get the dump or the backhoe to lower the tree in.
Yes. And when it first came out, 10 years or 12 years ago or whatever, like back then, the guy that I was working with, he knew people at the Tiny Jacks because we did a lot of work for them. So he called them and was like, hey, I'm noticing on this spec it says dig by hand. Is this an actual thing you're going to enforce or just some stupid arborist thing? And they were like, no, we are going to enforce it. It will be enforced.
Wow.
So we never bid it because even if you got it, can you imagine telling the people that work for you, hey,
Yeah.
you got to go dig 400 trees by hand in a boulevard in it, and some of it is replacing dead trees. So you're digging through some other root ball, and like it's craziness.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah,
I wonder if we could petition them or ask the question if they could dig by tiny Chinese excavator, if that would be acceptable. Because it's almost like a hand shovel.
It's close to being a hand shovel.
Yeah.
I don't know what the thought behind it is. It's something to do with a naturally dug hole has a different set of rougher edges and it's better for root growth long term. It's some weird, super idiotic, stupid shit.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. But
we used to plant a lot of retaining ponds, and we had an auger on our 2-ton or 2.6, our E26, and then you could put it near a garden and spin it 360 and auger all the holes and slam the plants in. There was no. If there was, I was ignoring it. But
I bought one of those it's like an ice auger, but it's an earth auger. So I'm gonna try and set that up for one of the guys. We got like 600 tiny 5-gallon potted trees to do at a snow dump in the spring. So hopefully they can do it with that. Won't have to dig those by hand. Or tiny Chinese excavator.
Could you not just put an auger on your small Kubota?
Yeah, I could do that too. Maybe we will.
Augers on an excavator are the best because you get so much reach and you can spin 360 and you can drill 30, 40 holes in like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can pound.
That's what we'll do.
Got guys falling behind and that's what we used to do that all the time. With we had the auger on the E26. It was like the fastest way to plant. And it was the guys enjoyed it because they didn't have to dig. Like digging the holes sucks the most. Like pushing the soil back in over the things and stepping them down and throwing the bone meal and that stuff's easy. So
yeah,
you're gonna have to wait a long time if you're going to a snow dump.
I don't know if it's used yet. So they did everything but the finishing. They're like, oh, you could do some topsoil in the fall and then come back and finish it the next year if you want. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Like, if you are dumping snow there, the salt's just gonna fuck everything up, and my hydro seed's not gonna grow, and then you're gonna be mad. And it would have been a nightmare. So, trying to mitigate some of the fiasco that could occur.
Did you get any questions today, Mike?
I did. Do you guys want to get into those for our worst hour?
Yeah, bust out some questions, bro. Bust them hard.